Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to Empowering Women with Celeste. And today I want to talk about something that I was not consciously aware of for a long time until very recently, which are labels. So, labels in this way is, of course, not the ones that we see in the stores. These are labels, kind of the same, like a text describing something, but it is about ourselves. So this is a label that have been put on you, that you have taken on, or yeah, by yourself or others. So some of mine is a very classical one: being the good girl, being the nice girl, being the quiet girl that's just sitting in the corner, quiet, being polite, doing the things you should, looking nice, looking pretty, behaving, not being too much, not being too loud, not swearing, not doing weird things, and so on. So, being the nice girl is a label. And another one could be that you might have been told or you have felt some point in your life stupid. And then you took on this label, like you took something someone said and then you believed it. So someone said, "Oh, that wasn't really good enough," and "Oh, that was completely wrong," so you felt stupid. And then you put on this label and you told yourself, "I'm stupid." So there are so many labels that we have, that we put on ourselves, and that we allow other people to put on us. And most of these, like, you probably heard that a lot of other things also comes from our childhood. Because when we are kids, when we are babies, we need to survive. That is the number one priority. And the way to survive is to be liked so that your parents will feed you and take care of you and protect you. And in doing that, you learn how to please them so that they will do this. And also, when we are at a certain age, especially around 7 years, we take in everything. So, yeah, the classical again is being a sponge, you soak up everything. Everything that you see, everything that you hear, that people tell you, you think it's true. Like, you take in everything, you notice everything, you learn how to behave in the world, you learn how to be around other people. And most of these teachings, these things that we learn, are not good for us. Most of us learn this kind of distorted relationship to ourselves, that we're never good enough, that we're so hard on ourselves, we're not pretty enough, we're not beautiful enough, we should be a certain way. And that makes us shrink, that makes us feel really bad. This is where we become unhappy, unfulfilled, which can turn into depression, stress, anxiety, all of these things that you might already know. So that's a consequence of some of these things. So I might come with a few more labels, but I want you to take a few minutes. You can do it after this podcast is over, or you can pause it now and write some of the labels down that you have. So the way you can kind of see your labels is through your thoughts. Like, what are you thinking? How are you reacting? Like, when you're around people, how are you reacting? Are you being the good girl? Like, what is allowed to be said, and what are you not allowed to say? Like, can you be funny? Can you yell? Can you swear? Can you, like, what can you do? And there are many of these labels, and you will find the more aware you become, you will find more in the future. So again, this label thing is new to me. I kind of know my way around the awareness thing, but labels was put in those words were kind of easier to handle or deal with in some way. So my mentor, she says it like we put on these, it's like a sticky note. She actually did this in one of our sessions. She wrote down things, and you could do this. This could be a great exercise for you. Write down your labels, you know, good girl, stupid, too much, too boy, girl, or whatever the word is. Like all of these labels that you find yourself having, write them down on these sticky notes and put them on your body. And then you can say, okay, because maybe you have some good ones that you like, that you're a kind person, that you're empathetic, or that you're good at helping others, you are kind to others, or so on. The good ones you can you can keep if you want to. And then imagine that all of these labels, that you're a good girl or you're a bad girl or whatever, take them off, curl them up and throw them away. You can decide who you want to be. And the thing is that when we take on these labels, we can feel, our body and our mind, our soul is telling us that we are doing something that is not us, that is not true to who we are. And then we can feel restricted, like we're kind of in chains. That's at least the way I feel it. Like I don't feel free. I don't feel like I'm allowed to be who I truly am. I don't feel I'm allowed to speak my voice and speak my truth, that I'm not respected, and my feelings are not respected. I'm not accepted as who I am. Like I feel I have to fit in and be in a certain way to make people like me. But the truth is that you don't have to. The most important thing, again, is yourself. If you like yourself, that's great. If other people don't like you, fine. You are the one who have to spend the rest of your life with you. So the most important thing is that you want to be with yourself, that you love yourself so much that you want to spend the rest of your life with you. Okay, so you got the homework. Writing down labels, putting them on your body, and then taking them off. And so I know that taking them off is not easy, because we most of the time have to go against some community, society norms or rules that humans have created. And that is really hard, especially for me, because then again, this pleasing behavior comes in, and I really want people to like me, because I don't, it's uncomfortable to me not being liked. But again, not like I need to, it's just so deeply rooted in me that is my go-to, like my second nature. When I feel uncomfortable, I get into this pleasing. But when I'm able to be in myself and just stand by who I am and just be who I am and don't care what other people think, then I don't need it. Then I feel centered and relaxed, and also powerful, because I'm no longer bound or controlled by these labels. You can also call them beliefs or whatever. I just choose in this podcast to call them labels in this episode, because again, I like the vision of taking them off, like taking them off as sticky notes, like thoughts in your head you've had, like you are not good enough, you are not loved, you are not wanted, you're not smart, whatever it is that hurts you, that you're struggling with, that you can kind of take them out or take them off. Again, I've also explained before, it's like labels are like these layers of clothes that we get on, that we have been put on since we were born by parents or teachers, or any kind of caretakers, grandparents, people that had a big influence on us. We took on those labels, like these coats and socks and jackets. And when you're walking around with 50 jackets and 20 socks and so on, it's really hard to move, right? If you can imagine that, it's going to be really hard to move. And that's where, when we start to take off these labels and these things that we have learned that are not true to who we really are, that we will start to feel free. And that is going to be really hard, because you have to, probably some people in your circle, in your family, are used to you being this way, because especially family, they raised you this way. Again, like an example, a good girl, they raised you to be a good girl. And if now you take off these layers and suddenly start to behave not like a good girl, not especially bad, but just different. You're not the quiet, sweet, good girl that just nods and say, yeah, I see, that's true, yeah, you're right. When you stop doing that, they will rebel. They will probably be a little bit shocked in the beginning, and then they will start to rebel, or they might start to rebel, because you're doing something that they didn't want you to. I've heard this explained. I don't like seeing it that way, but maybe it is the truth that that's how people manipulate you. If you're the good girl, you're easier to manipulate into what people want you to. And this is just a human instinct, because we all do. Like, who hasn't begged their mother for a pair of shoes, or for a dress, or makeup, or whatever it is? To me, it was mostly sugar, like candy. Every time we would go shopping, I would say, hey, can I have this? Can I have this? Oh, I want this. And that's a way of manipulating. If you keep going until they break, then you made it. So we all try to influence each other in some way. I don't want to say manipulate, because it's just such a negative word, but basically that's what we do. We manipulate each other. But anyway, when you take off these shackles and you start to do your own thing, go your own way, be your own person, you will not be so easily controlled. And this is where awareness comes in, because the more aware you are of what is actually going on, the more you ask questions. Is this true? Is this right? Is this true for me? The more you ask these questions, the harder you're going to be to control, both by people you know, but also like the government, state. We've seen this during Corona, which was not that long ago, that, people are so easily being controlled when they're in fear, when they're afraid. Because, we're in panic, we were afraid, like, what's going on? We don't know what to do. People are dying around us. At least that's what we were told. And then we were easier to manipulate and to say, hey, people are dying around us. Stay at home. Don't see your friends. Don't see your family. Don't go anywhere. Not saying that it was not necessary, because yes, in some way it was. It's just such a clear and good explanation on how easy we are to control. So when we come back into our powers, when we start to take responsibility for who we are, what we believe in, and start to choose what we want to believe in and who we want to be, we are not very easily manipulated. Because then again, we choose what we want, and we choose whether or not we want it to be manipulated in a certain way. Yes. So that was the basic of labels, or belief as we can also call them. I will get back to that in another episode, because that is basically, and it's such a funny thing, because we are born completely pure. We are born happy. Babies are just there, unless they're hungry, of course, but they're just happy, and they're just like, they just are. And then as we grow up, we put on all of these jackets, clothes and dresses and hats and shoes in like different kinds of beliefs. And then we spend the rest of our life taking them off again. But that is just a part of life. I don't believe that we can get through life without experiencing trauma, without getting beliefs. Like, you need beliefs. You cannot live without belief. But just being aware of which beliefs you believe, and choosing after what is good for you, the beliefs that are good for you and serving you, and which ones are bad for you, which ones are making your life miserable, suffering, worse, whatever. So it's about choosing those beliefs. Okay, so I hope you got this analogy. I would love to see your labels. So if you can, send them to me, write in a comment, like, let me know what are your labels that you are ready to, that you are now choosing to let go of. Which ones do you want to get rid of? Which ones are making you feel miserable, or making your life miserable? Is it not believing in yourself? Is it thinking that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve love, so you will never find the one? What is it? So that was today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like or a heart or whatever is available to you. Give me a comment if you have any questions, and if you want to share your labels. So again, this is just me sharing my experience and sharing what I find helps and has helped me. And by you doing the same thing, even if it's just here, by you sharing your labels and your story and your experience, that helps other people. Another one who is going to read this comment maybe in 2 years, or maybe tomorrow, is gonna read it and think like, oh, if she can do that, I can do it too. Or, oh, I also have this label. I didn't know, but now I know. Okay, so this is all about helping each other, empowering each other. This is the whole purpose for this podcast, is empowering each other, empower other women, support each other, help each other, instead of taking each other down by saying, oh, she's so ugly, and oh, this person did this and this, and they made a mistake, and so on. Help each other instead. Empower each other. So that was a big message. I hope you liked it. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.